I'll do a little intro as we have an intro slide too. So my name's Jenny, I'm Director of Artistic Planning at Scottish Ensemble, and this is Toby Paterson, with whom we collaborated in 2014 on this project. So to tell you a little bit about us, Scottish Ensemble, this is us in 2014. We were known as the UK's leading professional string orchestra, primarily as a result of exceptional energetic performances in concert halls that combined classics of the string repertoire with more hidden gems to offer new perspectives for our audiences. In 2014, we were asking ourselves some important questions about where we performed. Were concert halls the places where our music was at its most powerful? How do people listen in a concert hall? And what impact do the practical and behavioural patterns that happen there have on our audiences and their expectations?
I'm an artist working with the Scottish Ensemble in this project, and I also work internationally from Glasgow, from a Glasgow base. In this case, at Museo Tamayo in Mexico City. Studied painting at Glasgow School of Art, but I have an abiding interest in the built environment and in the points where disciplines intersect. This often leading to me working at an expanded architectural scale. I frequently attempt to find a place beyond the gallery for my work, and the challenge handed to me by the Scottish Ensemble was to consider a new visual and spatial context for their work as musicians. This cross-disciplinary approach had to satisfy our diverse creative interests while simultaneously connecting with established and new audiences.
So Toby and our artistic director, Jonathan, had been talking about a collaboration for a long time. They share a love of the under-celebrated. For Toby, that's modernism, and for Jonathan, our artistic director, that's 20th century classical repertoire. It was Toby who suggested that we might be able to team up and take this music outside the concert hall and into the city to encourage our audiences to see both these elements in a new light.
We aim to explore the mutually beneficial nature of putting different disciplines together in unexpected territory: music and sound, visual art, architectural space, landscape, and a temporal dimension. A challenging program and a heightened experiential quality, not to mention a fully stocked bar, may lead to Gesamtkunst's work worth more than the sum of its parts. So the search was on for a venue. Our prime criteria must be visually striking externally, projecting an identity that could align with the musical program, had to be engaging internally, and to be able to support an unconventional promenade concert experience, and it also had to be feasible practically. Ultimately, we alighted on the former Anderson Centre, an early 1970s multifunctional megastructural design by Richard Seifert of Centrepoint fame. This incomplete, semi-derelict and half-demolished city within a city speaks eloquently of both the ambitions and the shortcomings of modernism. I have a long-held interest in this odd place, having explored it first as a skateboarder in 1988 and subsequently through my work. It has an uncannily overlooked quality despite its scale and central location in Glasgow. And it also offers a unique vantage point back out into the city.
When we first went into the Anderson Centre, accompanied by some very helpful but very confused property managers, I was immediately struck by the sense of suspension in time, the multiple perspectives it gave on the city of Glasgow, and happily for me, the really great acoustics. However, it was also dirty, dangerous in places, and had zero power, exactly what I look for in a venue. So the project required a great deal of generosity from partner organisations, a lot of manpower. We vacuumed the entire site, and a real interest in detail to think through every nook and cranny of that building and how an audience might react to it. Taking our work outside the concert hall meant that audience expectations would be entirely different. You can see here that we advertised the event as at a secret venue, and gave no mention of composers or works that were going to be performed. We felt able to change how we spoke to our audiences, as we expected that they would be seeking an experience rather than a particular programme or concert.
So the experience unfolded for the audience from their moment of arrival. Conducted through unfamiliar territory by stewards, their entry into the interior suggested further varieties of space to explore. The concert programming reinforced the promenade, whilst the descent into twilight emphasized our relationship to the everyday world outside. Artworks subtly intervened throughout the venue to emphasize its inherent qualities. Shifts in scale from large painted screens to small sculptural work acted on the individual's experience within an expansive and collective environment. Even the bar furniture itself became a sculptural element derived from the interior's dimensions and color.
When it came to choosing the music for the event, we wanted to challenge perceptions that 20th century music is all difficult and dense. We also wanted it to reflect and speak to this particular space and its moment in history. So we curated sets of short movements that spanned the century, celebrated its diversity and its powerful ideas. We also wanted the audience to have an element of choice and responsibility into how they listened to that music and how they moved around the space. So we gave them a simple guide which allowed them to tailor their own experience, unlike what sometimes happens in concert halls, which have fairly defined patterns of time, behaviour and movement. This relatively flexible approach was partly, of course, because we hoped that this sort of event would attract a new and diverse audience for our work, and we wanted them to have a welcoming first introduction. But we also wanted to lead our existing audiences to offer them something fresh and surprising. The goal was that whatever people came for, they would also be opened up to something that they hadn't expected to appreciate.
The presence of the audience and their unfolding interaction was integral to the transformation of this event into an artwork. They became participants as opposed to passive spectators. Our hopes that the experience could be defined by surprise and exploration, listening and looking, discussion and reflection were borne out to an unexpected degree.
The audience reaction on the night and press reaction too was really overwhelming. There were people cheering for Webern and Xenakis. And one reviewer said, "This is what music is all about. Who needs concert halls?" And while that's a whole other topic for a whole other day, I think it sums up that this underappreciated music in an abandoned building was a powerful, uncompromising artistic combination.
This project emboldened us each to take greater artistic risks, proving the case for engagement with seemingly uncompromising, unpromising context, rather. Glasgow's a fascinating but half-empty city, so might we revisit this idea here or elsewhere? Anytime I walk past the Anderson Centre now, I think it might not be a bad idea.